through the window. It claimed to be innocent, the land of the free, a Christian nation, but it had slaves of every breed, even whites, which goes unspoken. There were even white slaves. They were called indentured servants. Japanese slaves, Chinese slaves, blacks, Africans, islanders, Spanish. But anyway, so it had this appearance as innocent, but its actions spoke as the devil. Its actions were pure wicked and evil. Now look at this verse 12. We're still in Revelation 13, verse 12 says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. Remember the Catholic Church, right? They killed over 200 million Christians during the Reformation. During the Reformation, Google Spanish Inquisition. They used to just try to think of ways to torture Christians. And the Spanish Inquisition still exists. Our last pope was the head of the Spanish Inquisition before he was crowned pope. Pope Benedict was the head of the Spanish Inquisition. It still exists. It still exists. Anyway, and when we say verse 12, we're in verse 12. It says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. And he does more than just exercise the power, and causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. What do we see now? They are trying to cause, and they just had, this is what makes it so monumental what took place, y'all. No matter your denomination, I'm sending a call out to you. I'm trying to prick your heart, prick your conscience to think. They just had, Kenneth Copeland wasn't lying. When he looked at the Pope, he said, when he held out his arms and said, each of these people behind me represents tens of thousands. These were the political and religious leaders of these churches in different denominations of Protestant church. These were the leaders. These weren't just regular people standing up, clapping and applauding. These were the leaders of the churches that represent the churches. And what's so sad is the churches of these different leaders, Baptist, Pentecostal, all these people, Methodists who were there present, Lutherans, their congregations are gonna blindly follow them. And that's what Kenneth Copeland was bragging about, saying, basically telling the Pope, look what I've brought you. Because he is a Mason. He doesn't hide it. You can check out his ring. Anyway, this is the and it says, and he causeth the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast. They are bringing all the worship. Remember, that is a Jesuit's job. Created by Ignatius Loyola. Let's do our homework, y'all. For y'all who love to argue, prove me wrong. Google, do your homework. Just don't argue out of opinion. Bring history to the table. Because like I say, the truth loves investigation. If you honestly dig, you'll come to the truth. And you'll come to the truth and you'll see. Google Ignatius Loyola. He's the founder of the Jesuits in this Jesuit army. But now we have the first Jesuit pope. And they are successfully causing the earth and them that dwell therein to come back to worship. Like I said, Obama last year said Pope Francis was the spiritual leader of the world. We are seeing these things coming up, but let me finish reading. Don't let me get caught up right there. Verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Now this is America. America is now bringing all this worship and praise back to the Roman Catholic Church, which is founded and given all its power by the dragon, which they now have Protestantism, the fallen churches, which is called the false prophet. The false prophet. Prophet just means messenger. They are no longer bringing the message of God, but they are false by saying that yes, we're churches, we love God. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that too much. Not yet, anyway. But anyway, verse 14. He had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should so both speak, and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Google FEMA camps. They are ready, y'all. These people are not playing. They are getting ready because they know it's going to be people like me and other people, a lot of other people who are not gonna lie down, and they are prepared to kill us and do away with us. But look what God says. Let's go. We're gonna go straight to the three angels' message. Go to the three angels' message, which is not taught in churches, which the devil doesn't want you to do. He doesn't want you to teach. The first angel message says, and we're in Revelation 14, verse 7. It says, saying with a loud voice. I'll read verse 6. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Not will come, but is come. And worship him that made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and the fountains of the... Basically, worship the God of the Sabbath. Worship the God of the Sabbath. Not the Catholic Church, who admit that they changed the seventh-day Sabbath to Sunday. But I'm not going to get onto that right now. I'm definitely going to touch on it. But look, let's read the second angel's message. Look at the second angel message in verse 8. And there followed... Now, this is the fulfillment. This is the fulfillment right here. What Tony Palmer and the Pope Francis just fulfilled with Kenneth Copeland. When you see all these leaders, priests and ministers and leaders of all these other denominations, these Protestant churches, stand up and say, yes, we are Catholic. Look what the second angel's message is. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The churches are now fallen. The churches have now fallen. And look what God says. Once the churches fall, look what God says. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. Now let's skip down to verse 12. And this is what I'm talking about for those of us who will die a martyr's death. Who will die because we are not going to fold. We will not bow our knees to Baal. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they. Now remember, to die is gain. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice saying, and I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow. In Daniel chapter 12, Jesus said, we're facing a time of trouble like never before. Like there has never been ever. And there has been some horrible times, y'all. This is why I'm pleading, and I'm glad this is why my friend Sheila even asked me to do this, because she's right. Even if our leaders aren't standing up, there has to be a call to go out. I don't care what denomination you are. If you love the Lord, if you love Christ, do not bow your knee to Baal. Do not worship the beast and an image. Don't let the devil pull on your heart, tug on your heartstrings. Look what God is saying. Matter of fact, this voice just, and I know it's the Lord. Lord said, well, let's go deep, Josh. Show them why. Show them more proof. Get them more proof on why he's Babylon. Let's look at Revelation 17. Why? This is why the Catholic Church, doesn't she call herself the mother church? The mother church. Let's go to Revelation 17, verse 5. Well, let's read verse 4. Let's start at verse 4. We'll start at verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit unto the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. Remember the word beast, and I should have said this before, but the word beast in prophecy means kingdom. Like I said, kingdom. So you have this whore, you have this woman sitting upon this kingdom, full of names of blasphemy. What is blasphemy? When you saying you are God, you're committing blasphemy. It says full of names of blasphemy. I could forgive sins. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. Literally, in Rome, there are 7 hills. Google it. There are 7 mountains in Rome, having 7 heads, 10 horns. There are 10, and when you look at the 10 toes, there are 10 kingdoms that make up divided Europe. Okay, let's keep going. Revelation 17, and I'm still in verse 3. Having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Oh, just Google the colors of the Catholic Church. It's like the the Pope them went here and said, okay, because they know who they are. It's like they went here and said, okay, our colors are gonna be purple and scarlet red. And decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, and having a golden cup full of her abominations and filthiness of her fornication. I want to check y'all out. She's called Mother, right? And she's committing fornication, right? Check this out. Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. The mother of harlots. Why would she be the mother of harlots? Why does the Catholic Church call herself the Mother Church? Beloved, real quick, when you go all the way back to Genesis, and you go back to the Tower of Babel, God is calling her Babylon. Why? Because Babel, they were worshiping Nimrod. Genesis 6 tells you that this is when Nimrod's kingdom was established, and it was Babel. Which means confusion. But Nimrod, the people started worshiping him as the sun god. The sun god. Nimrod was the first man in the Bible to start to receive worship. He was what I like to call the devil's first celebrity who received worship as the sun god. Sun worship, making sun worship the first alternate religion other than God's truth spoken of in the Bible. And you can find Nimrod in Genesis 6. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm steady talking about Genesis 6. It's Genesis 10. Genesis 10 and verse 8. And then it's Genesis 10 verse 8 and 9 where it speaks about Nimrod. 8 through 10. Genesis 8, 9, and 10 where it speaks about Nimrod and it mentions Babel. But anyway, so this is why Babylon is called the mother of all harlots and the mother of all harlots and abominations on the earth, because sun worship extends all the way back in Genesis time. Sun worship, the worship on Sunday, the day of the sun, which was called Solo Day, DEI, before the Catholic Church became converted into Christianity through Constantine, through 21 AD. They used to worship, their holy day was called Solo Day on Sunday. But anyway, that is why she's called the mother of harlots. Now remember, you have this harlot running around committing adultery. They usually get pregnant. She's committing adultery with the kings. She gets pregnant and she has daughters. And guess who she calls her daughters? Yes, the fallen Protestant churches who follow behind her, who worship as she says worship. Now, of course, I've already stressed that, they changed, the Catholic Church changed the 4th commandment. But beloved, that's not the only ones they've changed. And Google Catholic Catechism, Catholic 10 Commandments. You'll see this for yourself. They completely took out the second one. Completely took it out. Just, if you are a Bible-believing Christian, this call goes to you, no matter what denomination you are. If you believe that God's 10 commandments cannot be changed by a group of men, they completely took the second one out. Just took it out. Where it says, thou shalt not create any images or bow thyself down to them. They took that out because, they got so many images. They bow down to statues and worship, got the rosemary, the beads, and all that stuff. So they completely took that commandment out of there. The second commandment is gone. They completely took that out. So they were like, okay,